Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from 3 countries, 2 continents, and featuring 5 guys separated only by the same language. Here's your host, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is, wherever you're listening. Joined with me as always, Mr. Chris Hughes.
How you doing?
Mr. Joe Whittaker.
You're right, Tom, yeah.
Jamie Page is here as well.
Hello.
Alan won't be with us this evening. He's on daddy duty, so hopefully you're listening or out in the chat, Alan, whatever you can rustle up at the time. But in his stead and leaving him in the dirt, we have a very special guest this week, and I'm super excited to introduce to those that you don't know him. You certainly should do. Steve Carmichael. How are you getting on, Steve?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on, because I'm sure Chris is going to say this anyway, but we kind of thought that you are one of the least interviewed people that should be the most interviewed people. So I'm really genuinely looking forward to tonight. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Well, we'll see. It's kind of on you, though. I have to confess, but I've not wanted to put you on the spot. So,
no pressure, Steve.
If anyone is still with us, then if the show's rubbish, email Steve, not us. It's nothing. No, obviously it's really good. Very quickly, our normal shout outs and thank yous go to this week: Woodside Summercraft, Jim Dockrell, Wacky Woodcrafts, Crosscut Creations, Rovers Custom Woodworking, Andrew McQuillan, edit for you there, Joe. And a very special thanks to our good friend Ragtie for his very nice /post/pug for the I Like to Make Stuff group. But that was a nice, fun little conversation we had with Ragtie over there. So thanks for commenting, being part of the show, and obviously to our live listeners, which hopefully you're both here with us as always. Today's podcast is brought to you in part, as always, by Yorkshire Grits. Visit yorkshire-grit.com and our very good friend Chad over at Mancrafting, because he's still supporting us with his awesome Mancrafting mugs. So if you want to find out more about our sponsors, visit makersinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors. Chris, just before I switch over to you for our question, a little thing. I did a little survey today. This is genuine. I asked my daughter, she is not quite 10 yet, and I said, if you don't have a Mancrafting maker's mug, does that make you less than a maker? And she said yes. So obviously now you've got to get, if you haven't got one of Chad's mugs, you're apparently, according to a 9 3/4-year-old girl, less of a maker. So sort it out.
Tell your dad.
Absolutely.
Tell that lovely girl of yours. I'm finally glad to see the switch over from beards to those, because I've never had a beard. Remember, because everybody always says that in order to be a real woodworker, you have to have a beard. And I'm looking at guys with beards. I'm going, hey, I don't have one. I can be cool again. All right,
Chris, do you have one?
No, I don't. Which is why I'm happy to have a cup.
Yeah, your wife stole yours, didn't she?
We don't need to go into that. I was feeling good about myself there for a second, Jamie. Just shut up. Richard, question. This one didn't come to me. It came to you, my friend, so I'm just going to remind you of it. There was a question that you saw in the community that I saw that you also addressed regarding revenue. For those of you out there who do YouTube and actually put YouTube videos out there, and are concerned with, the day-to-day aspects of what your analytics are telling you. Apparently, there's been a revenue drop in YouTube since December 31st, and the question was raised, and you addressed it, Richard, really well. Is this normal? What's going on? Blah 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 blah. So if you want to answer that, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, just very quickly, it was raised by I forget the chap's name, but he on his YouTube channel on Gosforth Handyman, I think it is, something like that. But he just said, he noticed a massive drop in revenue after New Year's Eve and going into New Year's Day. And basically, I see it every year. And Steve, you can probably attest to this as well, because you've been on YouTube longer than most of us. You get all the companies that have their marketing budgets sort of around Christmas, and they put loads of money into that. And then come New Year's Day, they're all skin, and the cost of adverts and the price they pay per advert just falls off the cliff, and you have to then wait until about Easter time. Would you?
Yeah, it does drop around this time of year. And Usually it doesn't come back until March or April.
Yeah.
And then I think, I don't know if the whole YouTube thing with the advertiser friendly ads and, not allowing people to monetize their videos has anything to do with it. But I haven't posted a new video since around Thanksgiving. So I just kind of took some time off, and it happened to be when people's videos were getting demonetized and stuff. So I haven't done anything in the last month or so, but I'm about to start back up. So, but it should come back around March time frame.
Sure. I mean, there's certainly historically in the last sort of maybe 3 or 4 years, or as long as I've been putting videos out, it always seems to take a tumble after Christmas. And I mean, yeah, Joe, I think you said it pretty much does the same for you as well.
Yeah, very much so. And across the board, like not just for makers content, you'll see other large YouTubers from other genres mentioning like that the ad revenue drops around this time of year, literally for the reason you've just listed, end of year. And then like as soon as the new financial year begins to start, that's when the companies get the new budgets and they'll distribute it wherever they see fit.
Good stuff. So hopefully that answers the question. But if you've got any input that you think, then leave it down in the description, in the comments, should I say. And obviously for our live viewers, then get in touch as well if you've got anything to add to that. But main topic, we want to get straight onto this and put the lion's share of the show over to Steve. Have I missed anything, guys, before we dive in with Steve?
No,
Giveaway.
Oh, giveaway. Yeah, Jamie, could you cover the giveaway real quick for Heath Knuckles?
Yeah, I'll quickly run through it. We've still got the giveaway going for the Heath Knuckles and Blank and the Tubby Yorkshire Grit. You got a couple of weeks left for that, just under. To enter that, you just go over to the website at makersinternationalpodcast.com. Go to the tab that says challenges and contests. Heath Knuckles, Blank and Yorkshire Grit giveaway. It takes you to a Glee map. You fill in the doodads and you're entered. There you go.
Easy enough. Link is in the description if you're looking for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the mobile app is all. You can now enter by the mobile now because it's all been fixed.
Awesome.
Excellent. So no excuse for not entering whilst you're on the bus or the train on the way to work tomorrow morning. Good stuff.
Yeah, or sit on the cars.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Brilliant. So, Steve, let's dive in and question you something rotten, because like as Chris has mentioned and I sort of alluded to, you are kind of the uninterviewed maker. But you do so much. You've been on YouTube for over 5 years now. I think your channel's been running.
Yeah, I started in 2012, so it's been 6 years. About this time.
You are a proper old school YouTuber. I
guess so. Although there's some older ones out there who inspired me to get started, like Steve Ramsey, Mark Spagnuolo, Matt Vanderlist. Those guys are the first ones I discovered, and that kind of got me into thinking, oh, maybe I could do this. So, yeah, so 6 years.
I mean, 6 years in YouTube timescales. I mean, there's been huge changes, lots of huge changes in that time. But you were a maker before you got into YouTube, though, weren't you? You were already.
Oh yeah.
You had a workshop, and so where does all that pre-YouTube making? Where does that come from, and what's all that about?
Well, I've been making things since I was a kid. My father, he was a mechanical engineer. He went to Georgia Tech here in Atlanta, and he worked for Westinghouse Elevators. So he had a workshop and always did woodworking and metalwork and welding. And he would fix our cars. Whenever something went wrong with the car, he would fix it. And just fixing stuff around the house. So that's kind of where I got it, is watching him build and fix stuff. As a kid, I would make Christmas presents out of wood. So, gosh, that was probably around the mid-1970s, I guess, is when I first started making stuff. And then, like a teenager, I would, like when I bought my first stereo, well, instead of buying speaker stands, I would make them. Or instead of buying, you know, a table or something else that I needed, I would try to make it instead. So it was kind of, you know, I kind of grew up with this mindset of needed or wanted to buy. I would always think first, is this something that I can make and make it how I want it? And it would be less expensive too. So that's kind of where that came from. So as I got older, I started building stuff for our house, like tables and furniture and things. And then the fun thing about YouTube, one thing I had a problem with when I would make furniture and stuff is I would lose interest about halfway through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would take me forever to finish something. And I discovered it's because I wasn't really into it, you know. So with YouTube, that kind of changed in that, hey, I can make whatever I want, stuff that I either need or I'm passionate about. And you might notice a theme in some of my videos where it's related to either playing drums or rock music or, you know, that sort of thing. So YouTube is to make projects that you're really into and you're excited about finishing them. And since I started YouTube, you know, once you start recording a video, you pretty much have to finish the project. So
you're using YouTube as a motivator. It's like, no, we can't stop now. We got to finish this. I love it. Yeah, and you make some really, you know what? And what I love about your channel so much is that you make things that it's very clear that, number one, you don't need, but you want to do. It's just because we're gonna have fun in the Carmichael Workshop. It's like, you know, it's like the what is that? The phone booth behind you, is that because you did a video on that. You did you did a cool video, and Steve's gonna go back a little ways, I think, for you. I don't know, remember, and I'm sure you remember it, but excuse me. You did a video, and I think it was a challenge video. It might have been the birdhouse challenge, where you built like a bar for the birds to sit down. This is a birdhouse. It was absolutely fantastic. I love that. I love that video, and I love the project. I mean, it's like, these are things that if I tune into Steve's channel, I expect to see, I'm going to make a birdhouse today. But what he does is he makes a birdhouse that's like a bar where they can all sit down on stools and have their bear food. That was great. I love that.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite ones were the birdhouses. I made called it the saloon bird feeder. So, yeah, I thought it would be funny to make a project where it would be kind of humorous to see the birds fly up to and sit on and start eating, you know. So the saloon I thought was neat. And I had some like beer bottles and whiskey bottles on the bar.
Yep, I remember. The only thing that video was missing was the birds sitting on the stool and the squirrel being the bartender. That would have been awesome.
Oh yeah,
that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
The squirrels, they love that thing. It's still outside. And it's still in pretty good shape. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the birdhouses, because I wanted to sort of go into those, but not just the fact that you enter a lot of the challenges, don't you? You've got several from the 2x4 challenge that Brian runs annually, and then the birdhouse challenge as well. You made not just the saloon bar, but it was a drum kit, wasn't it?
Yeah, I made a birdhouse shaped like a drum kit, and the hole to get in the birdhouse is in the bass drum. I've also made one that's an R2D2 that has a hole on the front.
Yes, I remember that.
I've got one that is
the sauce stop.
It's a saw stop, miniature saw stop, and to get inside the birdhouse, it's the slot that is in the front that's arched so you can tilt the saw blade.
Oh, cool.
That little curved slot. I made a Rolling Stones one with the Rolling Stones mouth tongue logo with a hole in it so the bird can go inside the mouth.
You know,
so, yeah.
Those are all so cool. Why did I remember? Oh, why is it that I only remembered the bar? Oh, all right, I apologize. Just,
I have a whole playlist on my birdhouses.
You do. It's not just on the playlist, but on the contest entries as well, because you did. I mean, going back to what you said about your passion for both music and making things, the Whirligig Wars that you was it? No, it wasn't the Whirligig Wars that you just kept winning. It was another competition. You're like a serial contest winner as well, aren't you? We'll get onto that. The Kiss Whirligig with the kit band.
That was back when. And you know what? That was. Excuse me, Steve. Real quick, I got a chance to Steve and a belated hi from Laney Shaughnessy, because I saw him today at the woodworking show. And I told him I was going to be interviewing him. He goes, well, tell Steve, Laney. He's like, tell Steve I said, hey. Okay. I'll make sure I do that. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Because that was the Whirligig Wars was when Laney was actually doing those, right?
Yeah, that was actually my first video in 2012. I was watching YouTube, and I saw Laney was having this Whirligig Wars contest, and I'd never made a Whirligig before. And there was like 3 days before the deadline, and in order to enter, you had to make a video. So I was like, well, I could do that. So do a show how your Whirligig would turn, to make sure it works and everything. So I didn't record the build, but I just showed myself, demonstrating it. I was totally surprised. I ended up winning that contest. And then after that, I thought, well, maybe I could do something else. And then I started a process. And then these contests kept coming along. 2x4 contest, birdhouse contest. I had fun, coming up with an idea and entering and promoting the contest and getting to know other people doing it. Then I just kept entering contests, and I won a few more, which was cool. And then it got to a point where I started to enter so many of them, I kind of got overwhelmed with all of these contest entries. So then I switched into a mode where I'm just going to build what I want and not have a deadline, having so much more fun, where I didn't have this pressure on me to come up with a good idea or to meet a deadline or anything like that. So now I'm kind of at the point where I just build what I want whenever I want to it when I can, because I work a full-time job, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So I only have nights and weekends. I travel some as well. So, it's hard to dedicate or commit yourself to do something by a particular deadline or to do something for a sponsor, that sort of thing. So,
right.
So now just have fun doing whatever I want whenever I want to. So that's kind of what it's all about for me these days, at least.
I don't know if the other guys would agree. I'm sure they would. That whole philosophy of I just make videos because I like to have fun, that comes across in every single one of your videos. You are 100% into what you're making, and it's obvious that you're enjoying it as well. It's not I'm doing this and I'm doing that and here's the end result, or it's not the kind of tutorial based videos. This is like, come on guys, I'm just going to have some fun. Come and watch me have fun in my workshop, and I'm going to make something prize-worthy. And
I know. I know. I have a large amount of kids that watch my videos because I get messages from schools from all over the world, from kids who have sent me pictures of things they've made that were projects that I did a video on, teachers that have shown their class my videos. So I try to just do fun stuff that is entertaining, and to try to inspire other people, especially kids, to try to get into woodworking. So a lot of the things you'll see me do, I try to fun with it, make jokes, that sort of thing. But
Steve, I don't know if you do this. I don't know if you do this on purpose or not, and I somehow doubt that you do. But I have yet to see a video from the Carmichael Workshop and Steve Carmichael, where Steve might be doing rather what a lot of people would consider a very tedious thing. But when you film yourself, there isn't a moment in one of your videos where you're not smiling or grinning.
Yeah, it's like you can't not smile.
You are constantly you reinforce the fact that I'm having fun right now. It's one of those kind of that's why it's so much fun to watch your videos, because Steve just doesn't look like he struggles at anything. He's just like, oh, I have to build an X car, and I have 14 million parts, but I don't never see Steve go. He always goes, I'm just. It's wonderful. I love it. It's great.
Oh, I was just going to say, when I first started making videos, I was trying to be serious, like I was an instructor and imparting my wisdom upon people and being like an expert or something. And then when I look back at those videos, I was thinking, why do I look like that? Why am I trying to talk like that? So now I feel like I'm just more my goofy normal self that I am with my high school friends or anything. And I just have fun. And because I played drums in a band here around town for about 6 years, and everybody always mentioned about how I was smiling when I was back there playing drums with the band. And so it's almost like, I don't know if it's a concentration thing. Like I just smile whenever I'm really into something or working on something or having a good time. But a lot of that, it just comes naturally because I'm just trying to be my goofy self and have fun, And well, sometimes I'm thinking about like one of y'all or someone else I know who might be watching my video, and I'm thinking about, they're going to think this is funny when I sand this dowel or something, stuff like that. Things will pop into my head. Things will pop into my head where, it makes me smile.
Was it one of the? I can't remember if it was like an April Fool's video you did or something where you made was it the invisible chair or the invisible table?
Yeah, I made a faux side table.
That for me, I remember watching that, and again, something about your channel is, if you ever watched like your channel hop in and you see a rerun and you think, oh, I remember this episode, I've seen it 1,000 times, but it's hilarious, I've got to stop what I'm doing. That is what happens when your videos come up in the related. Yes, I remember that. And I remember watching the faux side table video for the first time and just thinking, this is hilarious. There is going to be so many people who just don't get this, but this is 100% Steve. This is what I imagine Steve to be like all the time, and then the smiley, happy, having a laugh, just goofy guy who's awesome. I love that video.
Thanks. Yeah, that one was fun. It was actually hard to shoot because
it must have been pretty.
I was something without actually making it anything. It's kind of weird. And it's like, how do I, fake cutting something on the table saw? You're doing the whole mime thing, like you're trying to.
Steve, I can generally tell you this, and it's and I don't mean to make you blush, but I mean, when I first got into to following YouTube. And then I followed your channel, obviously, even before I did my own. And then when I got into it, whenever your name came up, and this is, I'm not blowing sunshine up anybody's rear end. This is the God's honest truth. Whenever somebody said Steve Carmichael, and somebody in the room had met you personally, they would spout up immediately and go, he's the same guy in person that you see on camera. Steve is seriously just that guy. He's a nice guy. So I met you in Atlanta, and I went, you know what, Steve, if you think Steve's putting that on as a gag or a joke, or there's some kind of face that he changes when the camera goes off, you're dead wrong. Because at least Steve, when the brief period of time that you and I had a chance to meet each other, and it was very brief. You know what Steve did? Yeah. He looked at me and he smiled. Hey, how are you? I'm like going, that's Steve. I love the guy. Anyway, it's just I think it's like, Well, it's a credit to you, my friend. I think that's because people really respect you. And that's why we wanted to have you on and talk to you, because it was like, why haven't anybody talked to Steve Carmichael before? We want to talk to him. He's a good guy. We love him.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I'm always
The smiling for me, it's always contagious. Whenever I'm watching one of your videos, and then like if the screen goes dark and you catch a reflection of yourself, and I'm there grinning ear to ear while I'm watching as well, it's that contagious. I ask, it's like kind of going back a little bit, because you were saying about your earlier videos being more of a lesson kind of thing, but I still think your newer videos, for example, like the most latest one, the monitor stand, you've got a method of making it fun and entertaining while still being really informative. And I think one of the best things about it is how you offer the plans and templates on your website. Was that always a conscious decision to make it as easy for the viewer to recreate what you're doing, like from step by step, in terms of providing the templates for people?
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. Was whenever I make something, I want to be able to offer something else above and beyond the video, kind of inspire someone else to go out and build it. And I try to make it easy, so you just print out the template, go out there, stick it on some wood, and cut it out, and do the project. So the reason why I do a lot of simple projects is just because I don't have time to do some long, drawn-out project that takes a month. I like to start something and finish it within like 2 or 3 days.
I find those are always the most enjoyable.
I'm that kind of woodworker, I guess. If I try to do like a Matt Cremona project where I'm making this highboy or something, I'll never finish it. I'll just lose it.
Maybe 20 years from now, I'll end up getting finished on that thing.
Over time, you just kind of realize things about yourself. I need to just do short, small projects. I like making templates because it makes it faster to cut out. And you can think about the design ahead of time, so everything will work and you won't fail. I make a lot of mistakes, but a lot of those are cut out just by making templates and planning it out ahead of time.
Got it.
Right. So I try to get creative with the projects, make them quick and easy, provide a template so that other people can use them, and try to shoot the video in a creative way that's entertaining, and kind of gets people to forget about their problems for about 5 or 7 minutes.
That's absolutely awesome. And Steve, I want to ask you a question, because when you first started YouTube, I know you mentioned that you had been following Steve Ramsey, Mark Spagnuolo, and things of that nature, and you said, you know what, I'm going to give this a try myself. Did it surprise you to have the reception from the audience that you've attained? I mean, did your success surprise you?
Yes, definitely, because it was really just to enter the contest, and also to show my friends and family making. And I included my kids in some of them, because when I started out, it was more like, just to share things with my family and friends was really all it was, and to enter the contest, because I'm like everybody else. I like to to win like a free tool or something, So that's kind of how it started out, and then all of a sudden people started commenting on those videos. People I didn't know.
And I think I'm going back to 2016, which, like as Joe mentioned earlier, it seems like it was like ages ago, but it was, when you stop and do the math, it was 2 years ago. When I first went to the Atlanta Woodworking Show, and I think it was this year, and if I'm incorrect, Steve, then you correct me. But I think it was 2016 where the word got out that, hey, Steve Carmichael's inviting everybody over to his shop tonight. And I don't think that Steve initially meant to invite as many people as ended up going. And I'll tell you why I say this, because we were all staying in the same hotel. And I heard about Steve going, hey, come over to my shop. Steve, now, Steve will tell you that his shop is on his wife's side of the garage. which means it's half of the space that Steve works in is very limited. And I was excited. I'm going, oh, I'm one of the lucky ones who heard about going to Steve Carmichael's place to go have and hang out with these cool guys. And I looked at the group that gathered in the lobby that evening, Steve, and I looked at it and I went, oh, poor Steve, I am not going to get in this group because you know what? There was like 20 too many people here already. But how was that night? Because apparently everybody had fun. I didn't go because, Steve, I'll tell you why I didn't go. I didn't go because I felt bad for you because you had that many people coming to invade your shop.
Should come. That was one of the highlights of pretty much the whole year, is having all these people I watch on YouTube come over to my house and hang around my shop. But yeah, I work in a half of a 2-car garage. So I guess it's about 20 by 10 or 20 by 12, something like that.
Yeah.
The workbench is in the middle, and it was raining. So I had about 25 people in there, and we were all just kind of squeezed around the workbench in a big oval. But what I did was I called my friend Rob Austin, who's in the Gwinnett Woodworkers Association with me. He lives on the next street down in my neighborhood, and he's got a big dream shop. It's like 60 by 40, I think.
So you quickly moved.
So I knew that even though a ton of people were coming to my house, I knew that we could all just kind of end up at Rob's and have plenty of room to hang out. So that was kind of my backup.
That's awesome. That's because I remember the video for that when you had it, because you put a video out, or somebody put a video out about everybody that showed up at Steve's shop. And trust me, Steve's not exaggerating when he says it was a bit crowded. But I remember there were people taking turns in your drum room and playing your drums.
Yeah. I built a little. It's like an 8 by 12 room in the corner of my garage, and tried to close it in and make it a little soundproof so we don't disturb the neighbors. But a few of the people were going in there, like Nick Ferry had his kids in there playing.
Yep. Well, I can tell you when I saw
Chris
the video.
from Toolify, he was in there.
Yeah. Chris was from Toolify. That's who I remember doing it. Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yes. I know. I saw that video when it came out, Steve, and I went, I should have gone. I should have not cared. I should have just gone. And I didn't, because I truly didn't go because I felt bad for Steve at that point, because I didn't think he expected that many people to show up. I mean, you guys should have seen the lobby of this hotel of everybody getting together and everybody's going, we're going to Steve's. I'm going, holy moly. You know what? I think I'm not going to lend my cost to that. That was a ton of people. What a great time, though. Good for you, man.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, that was fun.
I was surprised they didn't call the cops or something like that, thinking it was this like raucous frat party going on at the Carmichael household.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again because the woodworking show is coming back here in a couple months.
Yeah, what is?
Everybody come on over.
I'll find out when that woodworking show is and let you guys know in a second. Hold on, because obviously it's going to be in Atlanta.
And while Chris is doing that, I'm gonna make Steve put Steve in the history books. Boxers or briefs?
I've tried both, and I've even tried the boxer briefs. I just always go back to briefs. I don't know why.
There you go.
That was a more detailed answer than we've ever had, I think.
I've actually done all this stuff.
And he smiled while he was answering it as well.
Yeah, and he did. The Atlanta Woodworking Show, for those of you who are interested, is going to be held March 16th through the 18th in Atlanta, Georgia. And I believe it's going to be at the same place it was last year, which is the Cobb Galleria Center. So there you go. If you want to go say hi to Steve and party at Steve's on Steve's wife's side of the garage, along with like 400 other people, then go ahead and go.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Could sell tickets.
You could do like a little sideshow at the after party.
Yeah.
No. At that point,
Yeah.
it would become block party at Steve.
Yeah. Well, I live on a cul-de-sac, so we can just take up the whole circle out there.
All right, well, I hope you get along with your neighbors. Because there's no telling what.
Yeah. Well, my store.
Oh, that's easy.
And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
we know the other two neighbors pretty well, so they'll probably join us.
That's how you get your neighbours on side for a party. You invite them as well.
Yeah, and you make them stuff. So
you mentioned you talked about sort of you've got family living next door, friends in the street and whatnot, and we know from your videos you're a bit of a family man with the kids, and you get them involved as well. And I believe is it your eldest son, or your son is he's in a band as well, isn't he? Something to do with sports,
he plays snare drum on the Georgia State drum line at university. He also has a deathcore band, and they play around town. They just put out their CD. Their name is Mirthless. So you can look them up on like Amazon, iTunes, but their name is Mirthless. So if you want to check out some deathcore music, they're really good. So I played drums pretty much all my life. Played in several cover bands, but my son's taken it to a whole different level. His feet just go diggity. He's really good at the double bass and stuff. So, but yeah, check out their CD, Mirthless.
See, over here in the UK, we and Jamie and Joe will probably back me up on this. And anyone else listening, we don't have a kind of school marching bands and things like that in the UK. So for me, it's a bit of a novelty / don't quite understand it sort of a thing. And you see the clips on the videos, and you don't quite get it until whilst you and Chris were exposed to the horrific meeting that is Jamie Page at Atlanta last year, or the year before now, whilst I was in Florida at Disney. We went into, purely by chance, Epcot, and there was some event going on. It was like a regional or a state championships between schools, and there must have been half a dozen schools marching bands. And I'm not joking, it was like, for anyone in the UK, it was like watching the processions going past the cenotaph on Remembrance Day. It was just person after person, all playing their music as far as you could see in either direction. It was absolutely amazing. Just to watch, wow, just bonkers, mad, brilliant. So to have somebody in the family that does something like that, Steve, is pretty impressive, because I'd say it's just wow.
Yeah, he's done really well. They have, at least here in America, they have a Drum Corps International, which is, after you leave high school or college, you can join a drum corps, and that's what you do, is travel around and play shows and compete against other drum corps in the country. So, it's similar to sports in that they put just as much or more money and practice and everything into the whole organization of, getting a traveling marching band going. But he's done great. A couple of years ago, they were in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Wow.
On TV.
Wow, that's
in New York City. But,
I don't know if you guys are familiar with Richard, Jamie, Joe. Do you know how big the Macy's Day Parade on Thanksgiving Day is?
I know that Macy's is big, so presumably if they have their own parade, that's going to be a fairly.
Steve, this parade has been going on for, it seems like 100 years. I mean, this is a big event in the United States, and it's truly an honor to be able to march in that parade. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, they gave them special drum heads for their drums with the Macy's parade logo on it. So one of my videos is making a frame for his drum head that he got to keep, with a couple pictures and a little plaque that I did with the X-Carve CNC. So go back and check that video out. But that was something cool I got to make for him to, remember his time in New York City. So that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, certainly for anyone in the UK or a nation that doesn't have this sort of musical background at kind of the school level, this is a big thing. And actually, everyone agrees that if you can play the drums or you can play the guitar, that's something pretty cool. And that's, for a lot of kids, that's where a lot of this kind of long-term musical career has its sort of origins, isn't it? This is a big thing for the individuals and obviously the schools and that in advance. So, yeah, that's good. Do we have any questions or anything from our live viewers? Who's watching the chat? Jamie, Joe?
Yes,
Anyone?
funny you say that. We do have a few questions.
Excellent. What's happening with those then?
We have the first question comes from Jim Dockrell. He says, "Steve, are you by any chance going to be going to make another guitar?"
Yes, I'm planning on making a guitar this year sometime. I found that it takes a lot of planning. Like, you have to order all the parts and stuff first so that you can measure the actual parts in order to design the routing cavities you're going to have to do. Before you work on the wood, you have to get all the parts first to measure.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I just bought a Epiphone SG guitar because I kind of want to make a Gibson style guitar. So I just bought that new guitar for research purposes.
Steve, I have to interrupt, and that's a great question, by the way. But we had another question from the chat that Jamie, I'm stealing from you because before you get to it, Jim Dockrell wants to know: is it possible for Steve to make an angry face, and can he try it now? he wants to know if Steve.
Somebody suggested that I do a whole video where I'm angry the whole time, and I don't think I could do it. I try to make. Let me see. Get your screenshot. Your screen print.
Get it ready. Get it ready.
Here we go. That's probably the best I can do.
Yeah, that's going on our Instagram. Don't worry.
This is how happy Steve was to spend the afternoon with us. Do you have Robin Jacobson's question? Because she asked a question from
I
too.
do have Robin Jacobson's question. She says, "What does Steve do for a living?"
Oh, I am an IT business analyst, and I worked for about 20 years in a printing company that printed real estate magazines. And now, just in the past couple of years, I have a new job working in a large poultry company here in the U.S. And we have plants that process chickens and that also cook chicken products for other companies. So like if you eat soup, like chicken noodle soup, then it might have some of the chicken that comes from one of our plants in it. But mainly what I do, I work at our corporate headquarters in the IT department. And if we get a new system or a piece of software or new equipment or something, I help with being trained on it, kind of a train the trainer kind of thing. I get trained on it and then I document it and try to help with implementing the plans. So
Sterling Davis just called you a chicken tender. I just wanted to let you know that.
Awesome. That's me.
Sterling says Steve is a chicken tender. I went, okay. That works. That's hilarious. Thank you, Sterling.
I could think of other parts that would be a lot worse.
Carol from KK Mate would like to know if you're going to make a central.
No, I thought about it since my wife's family is over there, but I thought we'd go visit them. But I don't know.
That would have been the deciding factor for me too to go. No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But no, since the woodworking show is coming up here in Atlanta, I figured then whoever can make that one. So
yeah.
Let everyone come to you.
Show. Yeah.
You'd have to charter a plane to get all of us back to your workshop if you come to Maker Central.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Can you imagine Steve at Maker Central in Birmingham? All right, everybody's invited back to my shop. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
All suitcases in top.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay, we've got another one from Sophie from Make It Soph. She said, "What are Steve's top 3 favorite projects he's done?"
Oh, wow. Let's see. Favorite that was the most challenging was making the acoustic Telecaster guitar out of an 8-foot 2x4. That one, when I started, I thought I'm never going to have enough wood in this 2x4 to make this thing, but it turned out pretty good. So, and it still works. I've got it over here in the corner. So that was one. Then my birdhouses, I like the R2D2 birdhouse that I made, and the sub sandwich. That's also a good one. I like making things that people wouldn't expect to be made out of wood. So that was the one. And that came about because Subway was in the news because all of their sandwiches were not a foot long. They were like 11 inches or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that.
So that was constantly in the news. And I thought, I'll make a sub sandwich out of wood. And in the video, to make the video entertaining, I did research, of course, and went out and got a sub sandwich from Subway and measured it with a tape measure, and for research purposes.
You did. You also did one with an American football as well, didn't you? And you was putting puns throughout the video as well.
Yes.
Yeah. That was hard.
That was the. That was the first 2x4 challenge that I actually entered. It was Steve, and I swear to God, Steve, this was a conversation I had with somebody. He says, "Chris, well, because I was new at YouTube, are you going to get into the 2x4 contest challenge because you can get exposure for your channel? You can do this." And go, guys, I might. I don't know. Steve Carmichael is in this thing. There's no frigging way I'm winning it. It was like an automatic given. Steve was going to win this darn thing. But you know what? One of your earlier videos, and Steve, I don't know, and I haven't really researched your channel, so I don't know. But you did, and this may go back to hearken to when you were doing the kind of how-to video times, that very early period of yours. But one of your videos that I really learned a lot from was you put a video out about how to screen print your own T-shirts. And it was a really good video. Yeah. How is that a big video on your channel, or is it? I don't know if anybody's ever seen that video. I'm clueless, Steve. So you fill us in.
Yeah, that is my most watched video. It's got the most views.
Is it really?
Yeah. How that came about was I was playing in my local cover band, and I started printing our own T-shirts because it's kind of expensive when you go to order T-shirts, and you have a minimum order, and you have to. There's like a startup fee to get the screen made initially. And I thought, well, I'm going to learn how to do this myself. And I have to credit my teacher in 7th grade who showed us how to screen print T-shirts. So I remember doing that back then. I thought, oh, I could do it myself. So I bought the stuff. Did it, and then one of the guys in one of the other local bands saw the shirts we had been selling at our shows, and asked me how I did it. And so I came home and basically just show that guy how I did it.
That I think that Steve, the only reason why I brought that up, and it was truly, I was being selfish once again, was because I believe that's the first video of yours I saw, and I don't know, and how many years ago was that that you put that video out? Do you remember?
It had to be 2012 when I first started.
Yeah, because I'm thinking it was one of the first videos of yours that I've seen, and I remember seeing it and thinking, wow, that's kind of cool. I should probably try that at some point in time. And then I think in my own mind, this is my experience, I went like a year without even looking into YouTube. And then after that year, the first video I saw again was something by Steve Carmichael or Steve Ramsey or Lainey Shaughnessy, and I went, "Hey, wait, I know that guy." And that was the guy who told me how to do screen printing T-shirts. So that's really cool. I'm glad. You know what? That's a surprise. I didn't know that was one of your most watched videos. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like all my other, in like the first year or two, I was just doing it. But yeah, it's become my most watched video. So
you've got a bit of a habit in your videos, in so much as you make a fun, entertaining, kind of light-hearted video, which has a tendency to be very, very popular beyond your normal sort of channel audience. And I'm glad Soph asked you actually your favorite videos, because I wanted to ask about your wooden sunglasses. And that kind of leads back from the screen printing, because there are some very big, popular, highly watched screen printing videos. But there's only, I think that I know of, maybe 3 or sort of a handful of wooden sunglasses videos. And I think yours was the first one. I think you were the first person to make a pair of glasses from wood. And that's a brilliant video, but it kind of ties in with your kind of crazy ideas that you come up with the football, or the football, the birdhouse, the R2D2. So do you still have those, or where did that talk about that video?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that came about, but I just thought, well, I could try getting some dollar store sunglasses, popping out the frames, and then try to, make some, which I used the scroll saw, by the way, Richard.
Yes, yeah, I remember the. We won't.
Jamie now loves you.
But yeah, I started. I just watched a few videos. There were some videos of companies that actually make and sell them, bits and pieces of their processes, but not the whole deal. I guess they didn't want to give away their secrets or something.
Yeah.
So I like when I find that sort of thing, because that way I can make a video where I just show everything, and expose how it's done. But it's really how I figured out how to do it. It's not I learned from someone else, but so I did the bent lamination thing and popped in the lenses and actually glued the lenses in place as I was doing the bent lamination glue up. And it just kind of worked. And then a couple other people I know, Alex over at This Woodwork and Bob at I Like to Make Stuff, and someone else, they had made some sunglasses afterwards. And I want to thank those guys, because they gave me credit. They made theirs, but they credited me for kind of inspiring them to do that, which was really cool.
That is cool.
Sure.
That is cool.
That's a lot of why I do this. It's neat, to see other people making something because they saw you do it, and it inspired them in some way to make stuff. So.
Definitely. I think most people know by now, my other half is a dispensing optician. Her job is fitting and measuring and doing all the glasses thing. And after I saw your wooden sunglasses video, she got hold of a couple of pair of plastic frames for me that are still in my workshop. I've been sat out there since you did that video with the intention of making some wooden sunglasses. Not the only reason, but the only reason that I'm going to tell people though I've never done it is because you used the scroll saw. That's why I haven't made them. But
we've actually got a comment from out in the chat from Sandra saying, "Please tell Tootsie I said hi."
Oh, that's my sister.
Yeah,
Hi, Sandra.
that's awesome.
When I was a kid,
Go ahead.
I used to eat Tootsie Rolls and stuff. So one Christmas, my sister Sandra, she gave me this that had Tootsie Rolls all over them. So I used to wear these Tootsie Roll pajamas, so that's why she calls me Tootsie.
Oh, that's funny. Steve, you know what? I want to ask you to do me a favor. Would you come back on with us again at some point in the future? Because we are like dead out of time. Richard, I don't think that we have time for our shout outs, but I want to make sure we give time to Joe's shout out this week because there's a reason for it. It's time sensitive, and I want to make sure that Joe gets a chance to get that in. But Steve, would you come up with this again at some point in the future? Because we haven't even touched the surface of Steve Carmichael yet. We want to get more into this.
Oh no, sure, I'd love to. Anytime, just let me know.
Awesome.
Can I mention one thing real quick?
Absolutely, Steve. Go ahead.
We have the you probably see behind me this Pink Floyd album cover.
Mhm.
Every year we started this Makers Rock thing where we make album covers. If you're interested in doing it this year, I think the deadline is in 2 days, but all you have to do is pick out a 1990s rock band album cover and recreate it out of wood or any material really. So just go to makersrock.com, add your name to the list, tell us what album cover you're going to make. To make the video until March 20th. So you got time to do the project and everything. And it's a lot of fun to remake an album cover. It's something you might not normally think about doing. So yeah, if anybody wants to join, it's free to everyone to join in. And then we give them away afterward, which is kind of sad for me. I don't like giving away my projects. but I just make I make a second one for myself. So
okay, that's makersrock.com. Okay, I'll put that in the description for everybody to check out too. So all right, cool. Thank you.
Excellent.
Awesome.
So,
thanks.
We also need to mention Joe's shout out as well. Whilst we're doing plugs and shout outs and things like that. So Joe, do you want to just very quickly?
Yeah, I'll keep it quick, guys. This is literally because of it being so time sensitive. If you've seen any more videos on my channel recently, you'll know I've been doing some projects to raise money for the Birmingham Children's Hospital. Well, those projects are finally being auctioned off over on eBay. Now, they are only available for UK people, unfortunately, just because of shipping and everything like that. But if you can share the links around, that really goes a long way. There's a link down in the description. It's actually to a Tool Stop article. That's the best one to share because it's got everything on there. All 5 projects are listed, description about each one. Anything you can do is greatly appreciated, whether that's bidding or sharing. Honestly, guys, thank you. It's going great so far.
Brilliant. And I think, even if you're in overseas, you could always bid on it and just let Joe keep it.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, that's going to happen. Could be wrong.
No, it's for a good cause. We got to try and just get as much as we can for them.
Definitely, and these are, those projects that you've made, Joe. They're good projects as well. So definitely worth supporting and sharing around and all the rest of it as well. So I know we've been sharing it around, but
I'm going to butt in again here. I want to wish Paul all the best of health. Get well soon, mate. We're all thinking of you. I think he's out in the chat actually.
Paul Wilmore.
Yep, definitely.
Brilliant.
Get back in your workshop.
Definitely look after yourself as well. We want to see more videos coming out of your workshop very soon. As Chris has already said, we are running very tight on time, and I knew it was going to be a good show from the start because Steve, you are such an awesome maker, and you rock. So very apt that you're doing the Makers Rock competition at the moment. Have I forgotten anything, Chris, Jamie, Joe, anything like that? Or
I don't think so, except that we need to have Steve back because we're not done with this conversation, obviously.
Yeah.
So, guys, it's been a great time, and Steve, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on with us.
Yeah, it's been.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been fun chatting with you guys. Looking forward to next time.
Very cool.
Brilliant. We'll do Carmichael Workshop Revisited.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Excellent. Well, a big thanks again to Steve, obviously, for coming on, because it is always fun having a guest on. And thank you to those of you that are out there live and still listening, if indeed you are still listening. If you're not, we'll say whatever we like about you, as always. No, we won't really. It's been fine. But, Chris, do we know what we're doing next week?
We do, but I'm keeping it a secret.
That's fine. Okay, so join us next week for our big secret reveal. And until then, you all take care. So have a good one.
Have a great week, everybody.
See you next week.
See you later, everybody.
See ya. Bye-bye.